So the White House is potentially causing a full-scale economic collapse. You're probably wondering why this is. Well, let's get right down to it. And tell me if you remember this. Democrats started pushing for something called paid sick leave back before the Inflation Reduction Act was even passed. Okay, even years before that. And because so many Democrats wanted paid sick leave, the White House attempted to push this into their bills. Ultimately, it fell out, it didn't pass, and we still don't have paid sick leave, or at least legislation for it. Now, fast forward to the middle of October, that is last week. Railroad workers were demanding that paid sick time is included into their new labor agreement. Well, guess who rejected the idea of paid sick time? Initially, this wasn't rejected by the special board of arbitrators that President Biden appointed to handle the negotiations between the railroads and the labor unions. This is a major problem. Because originally, this report, the news of this, didn't come out. This was not part of the discussions, part of the media reports. Nobody knew what the negotiations started at. Well, this is one of the things that the special board of arbitrators rejected. They rejected it. So the people that President Biden put in charge to negotiate between the railroads and the labor unions were the ones that rejected this deal, or rejected this, this one thing that the union workers wanted. Now, we know that 6 out of the 12 rail unions that represent, half. Okay, they represent about half of the or less than half of the 115,000 railroad workers. They've already approved the tentative agreements, but 2 of the largest unions have yet to even vote. They will not even start counting their votes until November 17th or later. And the 3rd largest union, which is actually the Brotherhood of Maintenance and Way Employees Division, they've already rejected the tentative agreement a couple of weeks ago. But here's the new information that we have. According to the union, the workers rejected the tentative agreement because they wanted to include paid sick leave on top of the 24% raise and the $5,000 in bonuses. So that is what they wanted. So they went back to the railroads and they proposed their new plan to include paid sick time. Now, I don't know if it was 300 days of paid sick time or if it was just 2 days or 5 or 10 or 20. I have no idea. That report hasn't come out yet, but the report that is out is that the railroads have actually issued a statement that they are rejecting the union's request to include any additional paid sick time. Now, according to multiple railroad CEOs, they believe that as the deadline approaches, more workers will agree that the tentative offer is very good and good enough. Here's the problem. The problem is with this thinking, is that it puts the entire economy in a very precarious spot. And any misstep at this point in time could cause railroad workers to go on strike, which would put a halt to all rail transportation and would actually cost the economy about $2 billion per day. Yeah. Now, one union rep told CNBC just this week that, and I quote, "The railroads consistently underestimate the frustration and anger of the workers. Workers can't take it anymore." And I've talked to multiple, community members who are a part or a family member of somebody that does work for the railroads, and they've said the exact same thing, that the workers cannot take it anymore. They are willing to step aside. They're willing to put a lot of pressure on the economy if this is what it's going to take. Because guess what? There's 2 sides to this. There's the union, which represents the workers, and then there's the railroads. Now, the railroads could do the exact same thing that workers are doing and say, you know what? we're going to put this on you guys, which is that's exactly what they're doing. Railroad workers are like, you know what? We're going to put this on you. If you want to make sure that the economy doesn't suffer, you guys are the ones that are making billions of dollars every single year. You guys should pay up. Now, we also heard from the National Carriers Conference Committee, and they said, and I quote, "Now is not the time to introduce new demands to rekindle the prospect of a railroad strike." But the truth is that this is what the workers have been asking for all along. They've been asking for paid sick leave. They've been asking for more options or less restrictions when it comes to getting some days off. The only difference is that the railroads were willing to give workers more money, but they didn't want to bend or couldn't, who knows, on giving into their original proposal or concern, which was the main thing was this improved quality of life and better options for time off. So we will see if a strike is what's going to happen come November 19th. But what we know now is that the shippers are not waiting until November to make contingency plans. They're already doing it. Right now, many shippers are actually moving away from rail in order to prevent any further disruptions in the event of a rail strike. We have seen they're pulling certain chemicals off rail, and instead of putting them into storage for security purposes in case there's a strike, what they're doing is they're moving some of these things by truck. Well, trucks are more expensive, and now they got to move from the rail yard to the trucking yard or whatever, and move it from there. Well, here's what I can tell you. Because of this move, complete shipments are taking longer to arrive than originally expected. And it's all due to the fact that they have to be broken up in order to fit onto a truck. Now, at the same time, shipping costs are increasing, which will cause the price of goods to increase as well. And if a strike does occur, just understand food prices are going to increase, and we will likely see food shortages at the same time. But as I said, the White House has helped to cause this potential full-scale economic collapse. As a result, one union decided to post a letter. They posted a letter to their website. Get this. One union, it was actually the Brotherhood, where is it right here? The Brotherhood of Maintenance of Way Employees Division, they actually sent a letter, okay? They posted a letter on their website. This letter, the crazy thing about this letter is that this pretty much told the workers to take this letter and give it to their congressman, right? To send it to a congressional representative. Now in the letter, it said this, and I quote, The push for sick time off could potentially lead to congressional action. While we hope the carriers will acknowledge the concerns of their employees and negotiate with us, it is important that we are prepared for their unwillingness to address quality of life concerns. Now, here's what this letter tells me, or just this little snippet of the letter. This letter tells me that workers are willing to go on strike because they feel so strongly that this is in their best interest to go through Congress. Yeah. And if that is the case, expect a strike to happen right before Thanksgiving. Expect the strike to be quickly resolved due to that $2 billion loss that our economy would incur. But also expect the strike to be quickly resolved because this is going to cause other concerns as well, not just in our economy, but in other countries. So my expectation is, or at least I would anticipate, we are going to see Congress jump in at some point, but it probably will not be, I can guarantee it will not be before the election, and I would assume they would jump in either right at the deadline or soon after. So that's what we're expecting, but as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.